What is happening? Are we good? Oh, we are back. Okay, now it is back. Fuck me. Me, dude. Holy shit. What the fuck was that? Just casual major drop off on my. This was ISP side issue. This was ISP related issue. Have they been getting worse? Dude, I don't know. It happens like fucking once a day. Yesterday, there was a fucking outage. There was a ISP related outage. I got informed on the ISP related outage. Today, God, I fucking hate this shit. I hate it so much. LA internet sucks so much ass.
I
gotta go pee. Fuck
what
this.
do you expect these will show?
Fuck this shit.
Well, we would really like
Jenny
to.
said, yes,
Excuse
I can
me.
send it again.
We'd really like to understand what's in those files and what is, because we really have never had access to them. We've been making FOIA requests, and we had to bring a lawsuit to get access to the files, as well as to hold the government accountable, which is what this suit is really about.
So, Maria, when you talk about the closeness of the relationship, when you were working for Epstein, you say that he was present very regularly. How close were they, as far as you were able to tell?
Well, like Epstein said, he inherited him in the divorce. You know, he said basically, you're going to see us together all the time. We're fixtures, because in the divorce, I inherited Trump and Ghislaine inherited Ivana. So he said, you're not going to see him at the house the way you see Ivana, and you're not going to see her at the offices the way you see Trump. And, you know, it was just, it was a known thing, like among the staff and everyone, that they were best friends. And Epstein bragged about it. And I gave up 30 years to report this. And it's a very serious thing to fight the government. You know, it's been unbelievable. I've been fighting 2 cancers because of it.
Maria, when we reached out to the White House for a comment, they responded, and I'll just read for you what they said.
Okay.
Quote, the president was never in Epstein's office, and in fact, the president kicked him out of his club for being a creep. They then say that Trump, they're clear there. They say he was never in Epstein's office, which, of course, from the original.
Guys, this happens literally every day. There are a million different reasons why it happens. Some of it is because my ISP is dog shit. California and specifically Los Angeles infrastructure is dog shit. In other cases, it happens because the service that I use to eliminate redundancy has been getting absolutely destroyed by ransomware, getting DDoSed. Okay. There were a litany of different issues. Live streaming on Twitch has so many points of failure. You have software issues. You have hardware issues. Okay. You then have issues that pertain to your ISP, infrastructure issues that are completely outside of your control. Then you have issues on the server side. It could be a Twitch server problem. It could be a IRL toolkit server problem. All of those problems exist. Okay? In the last month or so, the fact that I've been experiencing daily disconnections on this broadcast has happened as a direct consequence of all of the things that I just mentioned. It was hardware issues that were playing a role. There were software issues that were playing a role. There were ISP-related issues that were playing a role. And last but not least, the IRL toolkit that I've been using has also experienced some major outages because they've had their servers get destroyed. Anyway, breaking news. Exclusive from the Wall Street Journal, the Department of Justice has told Trump in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files. Now we know, I mean, we knew this already, and now we know why he's like being this scared. Maybe build your own server. You're right. I should build my own internet service provider. I should build my own server. I should build all of it. I should build my own nation state. I should create my own Micronesia so that I can have fiber optic cables that I personally lay down on the bottom of the ocean myself. I should just build my own infrastructure. You're right. Anyway. California backs down to Trump admin, won't force ISPs to offer $15 broadband. Ugh. I just literally, I mean, the one alternative is to just like get pay straight up $250,000 to lay fiber optic cables in my fucking neighborhood. That's it. That's the only other option that I have here, which is psychotic. So I'm not going to do that. Or just move. You don't have fiber. No. The question I have for you is, do you think if fiber was readily available, I, as a professional broadcaster, would not take that option? Yeah, a streamer named Maximilian Dude did that, said it's $15K a month at first, now down to $7,000 if I recall correctly. Yeah. It's not even just like $250,000. It's then like $10,000 a month after that, every single month, for the record. That's like you have to one, pay for the infrastructure yourself out of pocket. Isn't that fucking insane? None of the none of the ISPs that offer service here offer fiber. And it's literally street by street, for the record. And they just basically hope that someone rich enough and dumb enough will pay for it. They will never allow it. They will never offer it until someone pays for it. And then maybe that'll be something that is allowed. And then something that you can pay for. It's not insane. Infrastructure isn't free and you're privileged. Dog, there are people in rural parts of France, like a chatter was just talking about, that has this service. We live in 2025. Okay? What the fuck are you talking about? your privilege and infrastructure isn't free? What are you fucking calling in from Ghana? Like, what do you mean? There are places in bumfuck Ohio that have fiber optic cables already laid out. There are streets, a couple of streets down from me that have fiber optic availability. They just refuse to do it across the board. You're so fucking invested. You're so goddamn invested in like trying to be like, oh, streamer, you're privileged, that you, I guess, are defending the multi-billion-dollar corporation here and their ineptitude. Because the reason why they won't lay fiber optic cables, even though they have gotten billions of tax credits to specifically build fiber optic fucking cables, they just refuse to do so because no one holds them the task. So all you're doing is basically defending the multi-billion-dollar corporation because you think a Twitch streamer is more powerful and more privileged than a fucking multi-billion-dollar corporation. It's karma for being obese and hating on tired black people. It's because you are obese. What is happening today? Ha ha ha. What? The community is falling apart. Here's the Wall Street Journal article with a paywall bypass. Thank you.
Original incident that you're talking about is where
Yeah, you read one Obama comment and everyone comes out and fucking knives,
three guests
dude.
on this show who either knew Epstein or knew Trump have all used the exact same words to describe Trump and Epstein's relationship over the past week as we've been talking to them and you've heard them. And they have done this totally unprompted. So here is a former Trump business executive, one of Epstein's former girlfriends, and an Epstein accuser who says she had a troubling incident with Trump. They all said the exact same thing here on Out Front.
They were best friends.
They were best friends.
Was his best friend.
You heard them, and right there, Jack O'Donnell, Trump's former business associate, talking about what Epstein meant to Trump. These are people, right, who each met Epstein and Trump at different times, in different places, and just to state the obvious, in totally different capacities. And yet they all concur on this crucial thing. They say that when they knew them, Trump and Epstein were best friends. So in just a
That joke about trying to get Medicare for all from Trump to forget about Epstein came up on The Daily Show. Wait, they did? They put that in there?
moment, I'm going to speak to Mark Epstein. He is the brother of Jeffrey Epstein about all of this. Out front now, Mark Epstein, the brother of Jeffrey Epstein. And Mark, you know, from what you know, from what you saw, how close was your brother to Donald Trump?
They were very close. They were good friends. Jeffrey used to sometimes tell me things that Donald said that were funny. I know Donald was in Jeff's office a lot back in the 90s.
MSNBC is
it's
live
documented
covering the
that,
Jeffrey Epstein,
Donald
the
flew
new
on
Jeffrey
Jeff's plane,
Epstein leaks from Wall Street Journal.
Any
Reason
I
why
don't know if they
Tulsi
ever
Gabbard
checked,
was
but
trotted out in front of the White House press corps today at the briefing?
It's entirely possible, but again, you know, this really seems to me to be a departure from. Like, I feel like Trump has had a pretty good handle on his supporters, on the media, on how to conduct this sort of, you know, this, you know, symphony of attention, right? He's usually pretty good at programming these things. What is so striking to me is how over the last 2 weeks or so, he has behaved as if he doesn't understand the world that he lives in and the attention ecosystem, like all of this. I mean, it's very clear, given all of his associations with Epstein in the past, that it would have been, for someone like him, to be able to not like push all this aside. I feel like he would have been able to at least skirt around this, at least have a little more control over the story and the narrative. But this idea that, you can basically change the news cycle by doing something else, it's worked for him in the past, but this story just doesn't behave the same way. It's just so very sticky.
This is why you don't play with fire. I mean, when you're telling a bunch of people, your supporters, Tim, that there is a pedophile ring of powerful lawmakers and officials and rich people who are controlling the government, and they're drinking the blood of kids and they're sexually abusing them. You are feeding a fringe theory, and you're giving it oxygen, you're giving it life, and you're saying to them, like if you're Kash Patel or J.D. Vance or any of these officials, I will unveil this when I get into office. I will uncover this horrible ring. I will make your life better, because what's stopping you from succeeding in this world is this cabal, this evil cabal. Don't worry, I'm going to get in there. And then when you get in there, you realize, oh, wait a minute, they want to see this. And oh, wait a minute, it's dangerous, actually physically dangerous and reputationally dangerous to release hearsay.
Well, he's also back to do this. But like, he had a little bit of a scapegoat in the first term, right? When he wanted to change the subject, it's like, oh, the deep state is blocking me, and I have these old establishment Republicans that we need to get rid of them. He came in and he put Kash Patel, a podcast conspiracy theorist, in charge of the FBI, so that Kash Patel could reveal things like who was in the Epstein list and, all the other assorted related conspiracies, right? That's why Matt Gaetz was the first person he was going to put in charge of DOJ. That's why Dan Bongino, another podcaster, is the deputy FBI director, right?
So Dan Bongino?
Well, according to the bottom of the story, he exploded at Pam Bondi, his face red, and called her a liar. So I don't know. It seems like they have some personnel issues. But so he doesn't have an excuse this time, right? There's nobody that he can point a finger at and say it's their fault. He put these people in and said, this time I'm coming back to get revenge.
Can't contain it now.
Yeah, right. We can't, this whole thing, look over there, squirrel, that works if you're at Mar-a-Lago and Joe Biden's in charge, you can blame him. Or if you're the deep state is in charge, you can't do that now. And to me, the biggest news about this story, just one sentence on it real quick, is when Hakeem Jeffries first talked about this about a week out, he was like, what we know is either they were lying then or they were lying now. Either it's a cover up or they didn't really have the goods and they're pretending to. This pretty much makes clear that this is a cover up, which is a very different story and much harder to contain. Because now if the Democrats ever get back in power, all these people are going to be subpoenaed. It's not a 5-week story for Mike Johnson. It's a 2-year story. In 2027 now, they're all going to have to discuss this meeting. And so, I just think that it makes a big difference over where the story was a couple days ago.
It's 3:30. The House is holding their last votes of the month. And that is probably the best time last votes in congressional history, because every single member, we'll actually see. I'm curious to see if there are members like Tim Burchett whose opinions change based on this. I don't think they will, but
how might it change?
Well, they don't want Trump to be. I don't. Again, we don't know what. And
they don't want Trump to be implicated, so they start to pull back.
But on the other hand, a lot of them will say, well, if Trump did nothing wrong here and his name is just collateral damage, and it's just the black book, as Lisa said, or flight logs, then... Yeah,
let's just be very clear. The only people charged in this were Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, who's behind bars right now. Nobody else who might be contained in this material has been charged. A lot of it, as this story mentions, is hearsay, which includes other names. It's part of the reason, we've had Chuck Rosenberg on explaining this very simply and clearly and calmly. The reason why you don't release notes is because you can very seriously damage someone's reputation, put somebody in danger based on what can just be hearsay. And that's why you don't drum up this sort of furor.
Right. But can I add one other thing? Because I always read things like a lawyer. The most important sentence to me in this entire story is the one that starts in a statement to the Journal on Friday. Bondi and the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, said nothing in the files warranted further investigation or prosecution. Quote, as part of our routine briefing, we made the president aware of the findings, end quote. They said. That seems to me to be an indication that as long ago as last Friday, which is a lifetime in this story, Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi knew that the Journal was aware of this meeting and that they had told the president in May that his name.
I think it's also
that quote to me seems to confirm that they briefed him on this and that he was mentioned at least in some way, shape, or form as part of this. Again, not implicated in doing anything wrong, but that is a confirmation of the story.
We should also
go
just
ahead.
really quick say that he hasn't been implicated, but there are Epstein accusers who have accused Donald Trump of sexual harassment. Stacey Williams said that Jeffrey Epstein brought her to Trump's office and he groped her. So, yeah, we don't know what's in here. I'm just saying, but it could be hearsay, but also you would assume that if Jeffrey Epstein's accusers have mentioned Trump in public, maybe they have investigations.
Ashley, I'm going to give this one to you because you were at the golf course with me in Scotland when Rupert Murdoch showed up all of a sudden in 2016. Rupert Murdoch was not a fan of Donald Trump, and all of a sudden he was at his golf course. And Donald Trump actually came up to me off camera and was so excited and wanted to tell me that Rupert Murdoch was there to have dinner with him because clearly it was like, his white whale. Murdoch is here. Murdoch is the one overseeing the Wall Street Journal. He's the one, he's got Fox News, but he also has the Journal, and the Journal is the one that is becoming a sharper thorn.
I like that we've just completely cast aside any sort of like editorial independence of these journalistic outlets, and we just openly talk about them as like, vehicles for billionaires and their own personal interests. I mean, at least there's a sense of honesty here. I don't like that they're covering it honestly, but then also simultaneously not talking about how fucking crazy it is that like our expectation is that these papers are supposed to represent the interests of their billionaire masters, their billionaire owners, which is crazy. Maybe it would be nice to also say how fucking ridiculous that is. But then again, this is MSNBC, so of course they are also defending corporate interests to a certain degree.
Trump, that to his supporters, if he says it's time to move on, there's nothing to see here, they should move on. In a sense from him that someone like Rupert Murdoch is an ally who was involved in trying to convince him who to choose for VP, that should be a relationship where if Trump says it's time to move on, the Journal moves on. It doesn't drop another explosive scoop the following week. So that gives you a sense that this story is getting legs and he is losing control of the narrative and his supporters in a way that is frankly quite rare for him.
Tina Brown has said it's clear Rupert Murdoch doesn't give a flip about Donald Trump. Here's another statement, by the way, from the White House. It does not specifically address the information reported about the president being briefed that his name appears, but here's what Stephen Chung is saying right now. The fact is that the president kicked him, Jeffrey Epstein, out of his club for being a creep. This is nothing more than a continuation of the fake news stories concocted by the Democrats and the liberal media, just like the Obama Russiagate scandal, which President Trump was right about. This is adding a lot of the distraction stuff that we've been talking about, which was not included, I guess, in the initial statement to the Journal on Friday. They've updated their materials since Friday. All right, I'm going to take a really quick break. On the other end, we have some more breaking news out of Congress.
All right, getting back to this. This is Mark Epstein talking, Jeffrey Epstein's brother. I'm actually going to skip this. I don't really care that much. We'll, of course, talk about Tulsi Gabbard dropping a bombshell, ironically, not really a bombshell at all, about Barack Obama and how Barack Obama tried to steal the election from Donald Trump in 2016 and all this like crazy shit in an effort to deflect the attention away. I have the article here. Don't worry. In an effort to deflect the attention away from the Epstein stuff, they're pulling out all the stops. They're desperate. They're trying their hardest. And I don't know. I don't think it's going to work, but we'll see. Justice Department, this is a new Wall Street Journal article that just came out. It's breaking news. Justice Department told Trump in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files, Bondi also told President at the meeting that justice decided not to release more Jeffrey Epstein documents because of the presence of child pornography and the need to protect victims. When Justice Department officials reviewed what Attorney General Pam Bondi called a truckload of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein earlier this year, they discovered that Donald Trump's name appeared multiple times according to senior administration officials. In May, Bondi entered. By the way, I don't trust this leak. I don't trust this leak or this new reporting because I think this is to run cover for the administration a little bit. Because the reason why I'm saying that this reporting is running cover for the administration is because of this part. This is what